episode 94 of Comics and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Lumpy.
And this is the review show that reviews comics chronologically. Kind of? Right? I think that's
kind
the
of.
line.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're on our hiatus here, and as has been the tradition every time we start a hiatus, ever since Lumpy decided to go gung-ho on P.S.A.s, we're covering a P.S.A. This time, we are covering the 1984, I don't have a month, release of America Honda Presents DC Supergirl.
What is American Honda? Do we know what that is? Is there was there a division of Honda that was in America?
I think it's just Honda vehicles.
I was going to say, Honda is American.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Honda's American. So I'm just assuming that when they, especially back then, they called themselves American Honda.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so I'm going to go through the credits real quick. The executive editor on this was Steve Warner. The cover artist was Angelo Torres. It was written by a lot of people for some reason. Oh, it was probably some of those in the stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so this was written by Joe Orlando, Barry Marks, Robert Lauren Fleming, and Andrew Heifer. Heifer? I don't know. It was also penciled and inked by Angelo Torres, lettered by John Constanza, and edited by Barry Marks. The only thing really to note, this isn't a canon.
It isn't?
No, it's apparently takes place on Earth 32.
Okay.
So, and that's universe is basically reserved for inconsistent stories that are inconsistent with canon. Just throw it in that universe. So
right. It's not like anything happens that would be in canon. Well, I guess the boyfriend stuff does, but
I mean, there's nothing in this comic that couldn't be canon, so I don't know why, but I threw it out there because that's, what it is. Anyway.
You didn't mention, it says in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Transportation's National Safety Belt Campaign.
Well, that's because we didn't cover the cover yet, which you're going to do now since you decided to bring it up.
The cover, the cover says American Honda Presents DC Comics Supergirl. It's got a little DC circle at the top, and there's a guy in a futuristic car, under a lake with water pouring in all the windows, and then Supergirl has a little girl in her arms, and very prominently there's a seatbelt just flapping around like the guy didn't have it on.
And Superman's watching it through a screen.
I had to scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Superman's watching it through a screen while another Supergirl is laying on a computer in front of him.
Yes.
And then it says what I said earlier.
So before we, obviously this is a PSA on seatbelt safety.
Yeah.
But before we get into, you guys familiar with Supergirl?
Not even a little bit.
You know where I know her mostly from? That show. What's it called? The Berlantiverse or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the Arrowverse.
Yeah, and I definitely saw the Supergirl movie when I was younger.
That terrible movie.
Yeah, not great movie.
I think that was released in 1984 too.
Was it really?
I think so.
Is this the same Supergirl as today?
That's such a complicated question.
It is the same name as the Supergirl. It's the cousin, right?
Technically, yes, but not really. This is because this is post-Crisis on Infinite Earth, so everything before Crisis on Infinite Earth got retconned out of existence.
Okay.
So, technically, actually, in Crisis on Infinite Earth, this version of Supergirl dies and doesn't come back until 2005.
Oh, wow.
So,
and what year is Crisis on Infinite Earth?
1980. I think it's either 84 or 85. I don't remember.
Okay, so she's gone for.
Yeah, she's gone for a couple decades. But there is another version of Supergirl that comes in the 90s.
Okay.
But she's a shape-shifting alien just taking the form of Supergirl.
I kind of remember that story, too.
Yeah, and
for
she's
something, maybe from a cartoon or something, I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
and she's dating Lex Luthor and stuff in it. It's weird. Anyway, 90s was weird comic time. Anything else to say about the cover?
No, it's drawn decent. I like it. It's colorful.
Lumpy, you don't have an opinion on the cover?
Yeah, it's definitely futuristic looking.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a Star Wars comic or something.
In older comics, when they try to go futuristic, they put a headband around kids' heads. I don't know why they do that. It's really weird.
I don't know what that was, but something just broke over at Lumpy's house.
The cat just knocked my mouse off the counter. Get out of here.
Alright, moving on. We open up with a message from Elizabeth Hanford Dole, the Secretary of the United States Department of Transportation. Does anyone know who she is?
I do not, but her message is pretty scary, actually.
What's her message?
I know they're all looking forward to getting your driver's licenses soon, but driving a car is a big responsibility. So there are a couple of questions for you to think about. How important how important do you feel it is to buckle up your safety belt when you get into a car? Do you think any of your friends will ever be involved in an accident? Maybe you've never thought about it, but you should. Every 10 seconds, someone is injured in a crash, and every 10 minutes, someone is killed. You can expect to be in an accident at least once in your life. If you use your safety belt, you more than double your chances of surviving.
Well, I've been in 5.
I don't even want to jinx it. I've been in a couple. I don't want no more.
I've been in enough myself, so...
Did you see the pictures on the bottom?
The pictures on the bottom? No. I wasn't... yeah.
There's a bunch of scared kids staring... like in a classroom at her.
So she apparently was the Department of Transportation Secretary, under Reagan, Bush, and Nixon.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So, yeah, she was that, and she's apparently married to Bob Dole, or was, because he's a widow now, but...
I recognize the name, Dole, but I didn't know, I didn't want to say, oh, yeah, that's Bob Dole. I had no idea if it was or not.
Yeah, I didn't either. Bob Dole ran for president in 1996, I think. He was a big deal for 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I had to actually look up her Wikipedia page to find out who she exactly was. So,
right.
Another question before we dive into this comic proper. So, do you guys not wear your seatbelts?
You know what? I forget, but not when I'm driving. When I'm driving, I always put my seatbelt on. When I'm in the passenger seat for some reason, I always got to be reminded, hey, put your seatbelt on. I don't know why.
Because when I feel naked without it on when I'm driving.
When I'm driving, and I drive for, at my job, too, I have it on at all times.
So it's just weird that this was a big thing, I guess, in the 80s, that no one wanted to wear their seatbelt.
Yeah, but it was weird because there wasn't even seatbelts in the back of a lot of the cars.
That's true.
The back seat didn't even have seatbelts, and nobody cared.
Yeah,
if
you didn't need them in the back seat.
But don't forget, also, those cars were made a lot better than they are now. Like, they didn't crush into a million little pieces when you got in an accident.
That's true. I had a tank.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't wear your seatbelt in it, but definitely you felt safer in those big old iron cars.
Yeah, I just thought it's just weird in this day and age is all.
It's so weird that when it's something in my head when I get in the passenger seat, I always forget. My wife's got to say, can you buckle your seatbelt so you shut this little flash? Actually, when I get in Lumpy's car, he yells at me all the time too.
Yeah, because mine beeps to make me put it on,
beeps.
But I always have worn my seatbelt, and I've been in too many accidents now to not wear it anyway, but...
You know, that might be my problem, too. I scared into wearing the seatbelt for having so many accidents.
You realize you're probably still alive because you had it on. So.
Although the first car I ever crashed, I got thrown forward and the seatbelt broke. So...
Was that a tree or something?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the very first one. The one... Your mom actually took me to buy Lump. I don't remember what it was.
The Ford Escape, the little
white
one.
Ford Escape. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. Huh? So that was Seatbelt with Comics and Us.
Yes.
We here at Comics and Us are for seatbelts. We're definitely we want to take that stand. We like seatbelts.
I am pro seatbelt.
Yeah, we're all pro seatbelt here.
So far, I don't think we've come across a PSA we haven't agreed with.
True.
Might not have liked the story, but definitely agreed with all of them so far.
Speaking of story, let's get into this craziness.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we open up with Supergirl flying over I was going to say flying over Metropolis, but now that I think about it, I think this might be Chicago. I think that's where she was based for a little while, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So... I think an earthquake is happening here. That's what's happening.
I think so too.
I'm pretty sure.
It says the earth buckles, tossing a man and machine recklessly about. It does say that.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's a seatbelt. I mean, a seatbelt. Duh.
Yeah,
it's
a seatbelt
quake. It's a seatbelt quake. Yeah. Anyway, the earthquake breaks a bridge, and a truck's about to fly off of it. So Supergirl uses her heat vision to bend the bridge upwards, so it's a ramp.
How does that work? Is it heat magnetic vision or something? I don't know how she bent the bridge up like that.
Well, she bent it vertically. She's looking straight down so that the metal would curl upwards.
Ah, gotcha. So she made a ramp so he would jump to her.
But it doesn't really make sense because I don't think that would have been enough to break the pillars that it was connected to, but...
And it wasn't a good plan because the back door of that truck's opening and he's got flammable stuff in the back.
Yeah, and I don't know why she didn't just go lower and catch it.
She said she wasn't fast enough, so she had to bring him to her or some crap.
And what is in the back of this truck? Is it TNT?
It looks like, no, I don't know what it is. It's round, like cylinders, and it says highly flammable. But it doesn't have a fuse on it. When you draw TNT, you put a fuse.
He calls it a highly explosive load that he's carrying.
Yeah, but maybe they didn't put the fuses in yet.
Yeah, but does TNT fall on the ground and blow up, or don't you have to light that up?
Yeah, but if the truck explodes...
Or pressure, maybe if it hits hard enough, it blows up too.
I don't know. Anyway, Supergirl catches the truck, and the guy thanks her. And I don't understand what's happening in this panel. Did something blow up over there?
Yeah, one of those explosives fell.
Oh.
See it in the middle panel?
Oh, okay.
No. No. Oh, you mean in that one? Okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one up there. Because I didn't know when it was exploding. I didn't catch that the explosive fell.
Yeah, they show it like tumbling down.
But it exploded in the water?
That is kind of what it looks like.
I mean, dynamite would explode in the water, but you'd have to light it first.
Right. Maybe it hit a rock. Maybe there was a rock.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's very confusing, this opening panel. And so then we transition over to the explosion. And hey, the same explosion's in a comic book that this guy Steve is reading at his job.
She wasn't in Chicago because it says 1,500 miles away in a suburb of Chicago. So yes, she is based out of Chicago. I don't know where she's at 1,500 miles away from it, though.
Well, maybe not in the city. Well, Chicago can be 1,500 miles. That's not super ridiculous.
I guess.
And if not, you're still in the same state.
True.
Anyway.
Moving along.
Yep. At a fast food restaurant.
1,500 miles is from here to, like, California.
I wasn't going to argue because, no, I think it's 1,600 miles from New Jersey to Florida, so.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a long distance.
Okay, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know lengths, apparently. What is that?
Not me.
That's a cat scratching a post.
Lumpy's making popcorn.
Yeah, it sounds like someone was, like, churning butter.
He decided to mix up some batter for a cake later while he was podcasting.
Alright, so while the cat's churning butter, and I don't know distances, and now I'm alone because everybody muted.
No, I coughed. I was trying to do it without it being on.
Anyway, so yeah, at the fast food restaurant, this guy's just reading a comic in the middle of his shift, and no one seems to care. So
yeah, Steve don't work too hard, I guess.
And then the manager gets a call, and it's from Linda, Supergirl. Linda is her secret identity, just so people know.
Wait, but is the guy's name Steve Gordon? Is that his name? Because the glasses kid calls him Steve, and then the boss calls him Gordon. Okay.
Yeah, Steve Gordon. I guess. I don't know. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. Anyway, Supergirl's telling Steve that she's got to cancel their gate because she's too busy right now. And yeah, it's because she's busy saving people.
Yeah, and he says, Linda's always standing me up at the last minute. That's it. I'm taking Ellen with me. So I thought it was like a new girl, like he was going to get a new girlfriend.
I think that's what they try to, like, allude to.
It wasn't, because the next panel shows you who it is.
Nope, it's his sister, his little sister. Yeah. He's taken to the movies.
And she has a headband in her hair, but it's in the back, so it's not futuristic yet, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they get in the car, and Ellen tells Steve to put on a seatbelt. He's like, I don't need a seatbelt. Look, we're not even going that fast. And then they get hit by a drunk driver.
Yep.
And they go, like, panel for panel showing the accident happen.
Yeah, people getting hit in the head, him screaming Ellen.
Yep. And the drunk driver got out and is like, I killed those kids. And then the cops are behind them, so I guess they arrested them.
The panel is horrible. There's people standing around saying, how horrible, there's a child trapped inside. Nobody could have survived that accident. There's like glass everywhere, and the one car looks like it's on fire. It looks terrible. I thought they were dead. I thought, wow, they just killed these 2 freaking kids already.
I mean, it's a P.S.A. That's kind of what they do.
Yeah, but
well,
they went all in.
The way they made it look, though, like, the kids are dead.
Yeah, and then the guy gets out and says, it's my fault I murdered them, and all because of a few drinks.
And then they show them putting the kids into the back of the Ghostbusters car.
It does look like the Ghostbusters car.
So, and then they get taken to the hospital. A week later, Ellen seems to be fine, but Steve's in a coma.
Yeah, Ellen doesn't even have a bump on her head, and a week later, and Steve's a mess.
Because Ellen was wearing her seatbelt.
Oh, yeah, but the seatbelt protected her head when that thing fell on her head? Oh, so her head hit the steering wheel. Wait, she doesn't look like she has her seatbelt on. Her head hit the steering wheel, the steering column.
Okay, so she hit her head, yeah.
Does she have? I don't see a seatbelt. Maybe it's just a lap belt she got on.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be a lap belt.
Yeah, because who knows if even they have the shoulder harness belts in '84.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Steve's in a coma. We got our set up for our comic here.
True.
So Linda / Supergirl is at the hospital, and she's like visiting them. She's all sad, and she's done being Supergirl because she can't even help the people she cares about.
So Linda has brown hair, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Supergirl has blonde hair. How do they do that?
Wig.
There's a wig? Okay.
That confused me so bad in this comic when I first was like, I don't understand. But later you get it. But I was just like, I don't know who that is. But
yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. You don't know her secret identity, do you?
So she travels to another planet, it looks like.
Or a zoo, yeah.
Yeah. But no, there's like weirdo animals, too. What is that thing in the middle there? A dinosaur? She's holding a monkey. What's the thing next to the, like, ostrich bird?
A lizard.
It looks like a dinosaur.
A Komodo lizard.
And what are those other things? The brown and tan things.
Well, listen, it's definitely a different planet, because the next thing, there's a dinosaur.
No, it's not.
Full-on.
It's not.
It's not another planet. It's the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, it's Superman's zoo.
Yeah.
He rescues endangered species that had their planets destroyed and stuff from other planets, and keeps them in the zoo in his Fortress of Solitude.
That's why I was saying there was weird animals, because I knew that there were weird animals.
Yeah, I know. I was just arguing for the sake of arguing. But yeah.
Well, I don't know who this guy is anyway. So
what guy?
This guy who claims to be Superman.
You mean the guy who changes from regular color to purple and then back to regular color again? Do you see it in the 3 panels? The back of his neck is like a totally different color. I guess it's supposed to be a shadow.
Why do you not think?
Yes.
Why do you think this guy's not Superman?
Who is Cal?
That's his name. His name's...
They're Kryptonian names. He's Kal-El and she's Kara.
Yeah, Kara Zor-El.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I only know Superman as Clark Kent.
Yeah, no, his Kryptonian name is Kal-El. That's his actual birth name.
Yeah, his first name was Kal-El.
Okay. I have no idea. Don't know
his original name.
So.
His original name.
Yeah, his birth name, the one his parents gave him.
Right.
Well, his real parents, not his adopted parents.
This has been Superman, Superman and Us.
Well, it falls under the banner. It's still comics.
Yeah, it works.
So, yeah, Superman comes in, and she's like, I'm happy to see you. I'm going to quit being Supergirl and stuff because I can't help the people I want. It's a long conversation.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like panel after panel after.
And Superman's like, hold on, I know your boyfriend or whatever's in a coma, but I got this machine from aliens that... Yeah. These empath aliens will let you dive into people's minds, and it works on humans too. So,
you know, that's why it can't be in the canon, because he can't keep this machine where he can go into people's minds.
Well,
yeah, it's just.
So he's got this machine that goes into people's minds because they're going to go into Steve's mind to try to snap him out of the coma, essentially.
They think he's trapped in the coma because he can't get over that he killed Ellen. He doesn't know that she's alive. Now, do you think Supergirl's skirt could get any shorter? Because she's going to get a draft laying on that thing. They could give her a blanket at least. God.
Maybe she's wearing shorts under there. I don't know.
She wears bloomers.
Whatever. So Superman said he's going to go in, but Kara's like, no, he's my boyfriend. I got to do it. I got to do this. So she goes into the machine. So here's my question about this machine. How is it directed? Can she just go into any person's dream anywhere? Can she accidentally fall into someone else's dreams?
I mean, he says he can pinpoint the location.
Okay, but it seems there's not a machine connected to Steve at this point. She's like in Antarctica and he's in Chicago.
It's an alien technology, and they can.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I forgot.
You're not. Yes, you're trying to make it this world, and it's not this world. It's alien technology.
You're right. Empaths can just pinpoint specific
anywhere in the galaxy.
Apparently, she knows exactly avoid what dreams and stuff she goes through.
Yep, she's got it.
All right. So we go into Steve's head, part 1, because this happens.
I was muted and screaming at you guys because I had to cough and I didn't unmute myself. You're not getting it. She is in Antarctica. In his mind, he's also in Antarctica. When you get to the next panel, that's why.
No, that's not why. Even closely.
I was screaming that. I was on mute. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
He looks like he's on a different planet.
Yeah, he does.
So
he's in his mind.
So we go into his mind, where we cut to Mad Max after the Frozen apocalypse happened.
Right.
So I kind of skimmed over this part because I literally read this 2 months ago and just kind of skimmed over the comic going through. So I'm not sure.
A lot lately.
It's not important.
So I'm not sure why he's getting into this car and what the deal is.
So they're short on fuel for their cars because it's Mad Max, just like you said.
It really is.
And they're giving him the last bit of their gas so he can go get more gas for the tribe, basically.
Okay, so yeah, it's his last hope. He's their last hope.
He's their last hope.
And for some reason, he's bringing his sister with him in this ride.
Yeah, because she knows about seatbelts, apparently.
Oh, okay. Anyway, apparently some marauders are watching this happen through a telescope, so I don't know how they know this is happening, but they're gonna stop this thing. Anyway, Steve gets in the car with Ellen, and she says, "Put on your seatbelt." He's like, "I don't need a seatbelt." And then Supergirl's in the back just appeared somehow. She says, "You got to put on the seatbelt," and he's like, "No." And then,
and how come he's not like Supergirl? When did you get here?
Well, it says that he actually just ignores her completely. He doesn't even acknowledge that Supergirl's there.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if he hears her or doesn't see her or whatever. Anyway, he starts driving out, and apparently these marauders have plenty of gas because there's a lot of vehicles chasing them.
And the way they made it sound, they wanted to get him to get that little bit of gas he's got in that car. But they got tanks
but some of them are being pulled by dogs, so I guess. Whatever. It's essentially a Mad Max scene.
It really is.
And, it gets to a point where, the bad guys catch up to them, they, shake them off, but then, oh no, they crash. Oh no, that's the bad guys. Hold on. Skimming down. Okay, yeah. They avoid the bad guys for a little while and cause them to crash and stuff, but one of the bad guys got a plow, apparently.
Oh, that's what you crashed into with a plow.
A plow tank. But oh no, he doesn't have his seatbelt on, so he hit his head, and the car crashes into a perfectly cut rectangle on some ice.
Perfect size of a car, rectangle in the ice.
And
the car, in this, they have perfect tools to just cut that out.
Yeah.
Yes. Gas powered.
Yes. Chainsaws.
And so they sink to the bottom, but Supergirl saves them, pull them out of the water. They get Steve back on to land, but oh no, he's unconscious. And in the real world, both him and Kara are getting worse because apparently, if Kara dies in this world, in the dream world, she dies in real life.
Yeah, or gets stuck in his life. No, something about if he dies, she gets stuck there or something. It was weird.
Yes. If he dies in real life, she can't return back to her body.
Yeah, so she dies and she dies too.
Essentially, yes, she dies. Her soul is lost forever.
Yes, exactly. So then we cut over to part 2 of Inside Steve's Mind. Now we're in Indiana Jones.
Yep.
And he's looking for an artifact, I guess. Some dying guy tells him.
To the sacred jewels.
Yeah, like I said. Some old guy's dying and says, go find these jewels.
Yep.
And they get into this Jeep and for some reason out... Huh?
He doesn't... Let me guess. He doesn't want to put his seatbelt on.
We're not there yet.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler. Sorry.
He's in the Jeep, and for some reason, Ellen and Supergirl are there. They just appear in this one. And they're driving over a Jeep, and Ellen's like, you have to put on your seatbelt. And he says, no, I'm not putting on my seatbelt. And Supergirl says, put on your seatbelt. And he says, no. Okay.
But he hears her this time, right? He hears Supergirl this time, right?
Yeah. So once she saves them from the water, now he recognizes her in the dreams.
Gotcha.
So they're driving along, and then there's a tiger and, like, hunters and stuff.
Tiger attacks the car, and he throws a snake at it. What the heck?
I don't know.
This is crazy.
Here, kitty, catch.
Yeah.
And I guess that takes care of the tiger, because we never see it again.
Right.
Meanwhile, the hunter guys are up, dislodge a boulder onto them, which just barely misses them.
You think after the boulder, he would have put his seatbelt on.
No, because this is a 3-part lead up. And the big guy starts chasing them in this giant truck. And oh no, the truck hits them. Oh, hits the Jeep. And Steve goes flying out of the truck and hits his head on the rock. Hits his head on the rock as Supergirl catches him. And in the real world, both Supergirl and Steve are getting even worse. And the doctor says, we had 2 setbacks in this hour. It's not looking good. We can only hope. So, it's not going well for our heroes. In part 3, now we're in a detective noir story.
Dick Tracy.
That works too. Dick Tracy.
Yeah, that's what I thought of.
And, attractive secretary woman comes in, says, do this thing, and take your gun with you. And so he goes in and gets the car, and for some reason, Supergirl and Ellen are there and says, put on your seatbelt. And this time he's like, fine, I'll put on my seatbelt.
Oh, he did it. See, it didn't take much, but guess what? I don't think Supergirl has hers on in the back seat.
There's no seatbelts in the back seat.
There's no back seat. Yeah, there's probably not any seatbelt in the back seat.
Well, and now there's over-the-shoulder belts here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so I guess there was over-the-shoulder belts here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that particular car just didn't have it.
Maybe the passenger does.
Maybe.
Oh, she does too. Yeah, she does.
Yep.
I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Because this bad guy he drives out of nowhere and it gets into a bit of a, he drives, he cuts him off here, right?
Yeah.
And then he drives down the street.
Right, he goes around the block, I think, and then boom.
And goes around the block, and then he crashes into him, but this time they have the seatbelt on. So everything's fine, and in the real world, Steve wakes up and sees Ellen alive. And then in the Fortress, Kara also wakes up, and Superman's like, you did it!
Yeah, they're all hugging. Everybody's hugging.
And then we cut to a few weeks later, and, Supergirl and as Linda is like, hey, we can go on that date. We can reschedule the date. And he's like, cool. But she says, we're still going to do it later, though.
I can't do it right now.
I gotta go be Supergirl. And then she flies off, and that's the end.
And if you noticed, he has a seatbelt on, by the way.
No, yeah, he wears his seatbelt now because, we have to get the message across.
Yeah.
But that was Supergirl's P.S.A. It was interesting.
Weird the way they tried to tell the story with the 3 different stories and.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to really drive it home the different ways he can die without his seatbelt on.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the worst one we've read.
No. There's nothing's going to beat that first one.
I mean, but just pure storytelling wise, it was a full story, so.
Yeah. It went through. I mean, but you hate those ones where it's a dream.
Yeah, but this was different.
Well, it was a dream, but then there was also a real person in the dream, so it made it more.
Yeah, like the purpose was the dream, There wasn't just it wasn't a dream. It was just now going into someone's consciousness. It's a different kind of story. Anyway, Anything else about the story before we move on?
I didn't know if we were moving on.
Oh, we're moving on.
Well, then buckle in, because we got another hour worth of stuff to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, but what did you guys think of the story?
Story's okay. It wasn't terrible. It was just crazy the way they put it across to me.
It was readable, but I think it was just they were grasping to put more pages in the book because some of it was just unnecessary. They could have easily had his dream go with one crash and then one where he did have it on and then be done. But
well, there is a rule of threes in stories too, so
right, I get it.
All right. So now we get to the second half of this book, which is a mixture of tests and facts and all kind of stuff.
Like, no kid went through all this crap. I'll tell you that right now. The kids are like, I am not. I'm done. Well, unless they're in class and they have to.
I was about to say, maybe teachers gave it up and said, here's your homework.
Right. Because if not, I'm not doing all this. Because there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just clicked off of it. That's how many pages are. There's at least 5 pages. Yeah, 5 pages of tests.
Well, the first one is Unmaking the Myths. In the story, Steve had several wrong ideas about safety belts and his chances of being in a serious accident. Many people share his belief in these myths. Do you? Find out by answering the questions below. Your teacher has the correct answers.
But it's weird because it's all questions and then they want you to guess percentages. You're not going to know exactly unless they're, why would you know that, these percentages?
Right. So like there's 10 multiple choice questions and they don't give you the answers in this comic.
No.
And I didn't even bother trying to look them up because these are statistics from 1984.
Well, I actually went and I was going to do them all and I did the first 2 questions. I'm like, how the hell am I going to know the percentage of this stuff? Unless I studied it somewhere,
Yeah. I don't know. This one is a little ridiculous. So, I said, unless it was like a class, maybe a driver's ed class or something.
Right.
I don't know. Lumpy Brisk probably skipped over it, didn't you?
I mean, I looked through it, but I did not read any of it.
I read some of it, and then I realized that, there's no way for me to know these answers.
But yeah, that one's just a multiple choice test.
Yeah.
Then we get, a worksheet about what happens in a crash and how fast you go.
Yeah, but you have to know how many seconds it would take for each thing, and there's no answers for that over here.
Yeah, I guess you're supposed to look it up.
Yeah, I guess not back then. How would you look it up? You would have had to have a study sheet or something.
Yeah, they probably handed out other things with these, is what I'm assuming.
Right.
But I just looked at the illustrations on this one, and it shows what happens if you crash without a seatbelt, and when you do, it's like...
I did like the first and second collision. The first collision is when the car hits, and the second collision is when you go through the drive, because you're still moving at the speed of the car.
Yes.
And the car is
you
stopped,
something.
So you just keep going at whatever speed you're doing.
You actually learned something.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. But if the seatbelt, it slows you down to the speed of the car before.
Right.
Right, you decelerate with the vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, you still slam into that seatbelt. I know a lot of people who have broken, collarbones and stuff on the seatbelt, but...
Right.
Yeah, I know some people, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, the third page is how strong you are, and this is about G-force, and this is a math quiz.
Yeah, come on.
This is actually one of the pages I looked at, and I was like, how the hell am I going to know that? I don't even know how you'd figure it out.
It tells you in the first paragraph.
Yeah, it tells you how to figure it out. Your body weight plus the G's.
Yeah. Anyway, good.
I like the example they give you at the bottom. A 15-pound baby.
15-pound baby in a crash can develop a force of 900 pounds.
Yeah, a 15-pound baby doing 35 miles an hour can develop a force of 900 pounds.
So this is pretty much telling you, no matter how strong you think you are, you'll never be able to brace enough to stop the crash from getting injured.
Right. Well, this is saying a 35-mile-an-hour crash, you're actually at 60 Gs. But it says an astronaut during launch is only at 11 Gs. How is that possible?
Vertical to horizontal, too, first of all, I think.
Yeah, but it's only 35 miles an hour. How fast are they going on a launch?
They have to be going 1,000 times that.
Right, you would think, right? But they're saying they're only 11 G's, but I guess the crash itself is 60 G's.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably the crash itself causing...
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, the force of that impact actually is the G's that you're... Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Answered your own question. But yeah, they have equations for panic break-in, so don't panic brake, space launch, and 35 miles per hour crash. And then we get to a what would you do situation. What would you do in a situation? And there's 4 questions. The first one is essentially...
The first one, I can't tell you as a kid how many times it was like, well, there's 11 of us. I guess you're getting on everybody's laps.
Yeah, that's the question. If there's more people, if you have more people than there are seatbelts, do you let that happen?
At least once a week. At least once a week.
And I'm like, yes.
Well, I mean, probably not now. But as a kid, man, they were always like, "Oh, bring all your friends. Everybody get on everybody's lap."
I don't know if I'm out with friends and there's like a lot of us and we're carpooling, we're squeezing into that car.
I was gonna say when I was in high school, we got in the car.
Yeah,
There were 10 of us in the car.
I remember crawling around in the back of a station wagon, just in the back part where no seats are.
Hell, I rode in the trunk. I rode on the roof.
I rode, me too, on the roof. We used to do at the campground. We used to do surfing like team wolf on the roof of the van.
Yeah. So not good.
When
Don't do that.
we had to go to Philly one time for a class in Philly and work. We squeezed like 7 to 8 people in a car. This is how it works. So
we had an older guy who had a pickup truck who put hay bales in the back of his pickup truck and took us on I-95 in Philadelphia doing like 60, sitting on hay bales in the back of his pickup truck. We actually laid down on the floor because it was so cold driving around on 95.
All right. Second question. If your dad doesn't want to put it in his belt, do you argue with him or just let him do what he wants to do?
It depends. Is he slappy dad? Is he one of them dads who wants to give you a
I don't know. Is it Lumpy's dad?
Is it a backhand across the mouth if you say something? Then probably you're not going to risk that argument. Yeah, is it Lumpy's dad? You want to fight with him for an hour about seatbelts?
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm not arguing with him for an hour so he can lecture me on why it's okay for him to not do it. So no, I'm not. He can do whatever he wants to.
And then there's the classic one. If someone's having a drink in a party and do you let them drink and drive? Blah,
Again,
blah, blah.
As a teenager, probably. Now, I won't even get in the car at all. One beer. I ask. I'm like, do we need to go anywhere? Because I'm going to have one beer. That's what I do now.
Yep. I'm the same though. Like,
Yep.
I don't even bother to risk it. Like, if I'm going to have a drink, then I'm just not driving.
Yeah. Well, it's just so dumb because all it takes is one dummy to step out in front of you in the car, and now you're going to jail for, like, murder. And I'm
right. You're not drunk, but
Yeah.
if you had a drink, you're screwed.
Right.
It's not worth it. It's just not.
No.
I don't really drink, so it wasn't really an issue for me. So
Honestly, I don't either. I used to. I don't anymore.
And then the last one,
I'm not weighing in on this one, so go ahead.
Now you're drunk.
you were drunk like 2 weeks ago. We know. The last one is a bit convoluted. You have to be a doctor. Yeah, you have to. This woman is babysitting a kid. She has a doctor's appointment, but yeah, she has a doctor appointment, and I guess I'm just gonna read it because your neighbor has asked you to do a favor for her while you're babysitting for her child. Okay. You have to be at a doctor by 5. What's more, you don't have an infant seat in your car. Your neighbor took her seat with her. Why would she take the infant seat with her? And the trip to her sister's is a 20-minute ride. Do you take the baby with you anyway, or stay with the baby and miss your appointment until your neighbor returns?
I'm not going to answer.
I stay with the baby until the neighbor returns, I guess.
I mean, I just don't. Yeah, you do. Like.
If at this point, you throw a text message out there. Can anybody drop me a baby seat off?
Well, there is a C for other, so you can do that.
Right. Yeah. I throw a group text message out. Does anybody have a baby seat they can drop to me so I can take this kid to the doctor?
Or can someone come take this kid so I can go to the doctor?
Right. Oh, you have it done? I thought they were taking the kid to the doctor's appointment.
No, you have a doctor's appointment, not the kid.
Why are you babysitting if you have the kid? Why are you babysitting knowing you have a doctor's appointment?
You just missed your doctor's appointment.
Yeah. Maybe it was a last minute thing, and I don't know. Anyway, on to the last little worksheet we have. What are your risks? And then you have to give yourself points based on what you do.
What does this have to do with?
Well, let's read it now.
Ah, I see it. What are your chances of getting health problems?
Yes, sure. Sometimes we face risks for which we have no control. Some accidents or illness can occur no matter how careful we are, but there are plenty of factors within your control that may increase your chances of living a healthy life. And then you have to take this survey. The first one's about cigarette smoking, which you two probably failed. It's okay.
I don't smoke at all.
Me neither.
Second one's about alcohol and drugs, which Uncle Chris failed.
What is the middle one? Oh, sometimes. I probably get a 2 or a 4 on that one.
Eating habits, we all fail. Physical fitness.
I eat a variety of foods every day. Big variety. Huge variety.
I eat a huge variety of them, and that's why I am what I am.
Uh-oh, physical fitness and exercise. Skip it. Don't even look at it.
All right, we're going to skip it.
We are doing a comic book podcast. We're going to just assume that we're not doing any physical fitness or exercise. Okay?
There's no physical fitness or exercise here.
Stress control.
I'm going to fail that one, too.
The first question is, you have a job or do other work you enjoy? So
I don't even know what that means.
No.
You enjoy your job.
Right. Or do other work you enjoy. Or like you don't have a job, but you do other work. I don't know.
Or maybe you have a job, but you do something else that you enjoy, so you're controlling your stress factors.
Yeah, I'm going to get a 2 on that one.
And then the last one is safety. Do you wear your seatbelt while driving? Do you avoid driving while drunk and stuff? Do you obey traffic rules? I don't know. Do you drive the speed limit?
What's the last one?
I avoid smoking in bed.
I do.
What the hell? Well, if you said you didn't smoke, then you wouldn't have that problem at all.
Well, then you put 0. You put a 2 on that one. Yeah.
Isn't this a kid's comic?
In bed. Yeah, this kids shouldn't be smoking in bed either.
What? Teenagers smoke?
Yeah, you're right. Somebody was smoking with this comic book because the last cover's got like burn marks on
it. Yeah. They were in bed reading this with their cigarette.
And then the last page is Seatbelts, a simple fact of life, and it's just like a poster of Supergirl flying over a bunch of cars, and it says Honda America Motor Company Inc. at the bottom.
Everybody in the cars have their seatbelts on too, you know that?
No, I didn't look.
Yeah, I did.
There's also a kid in the car seat in the front seat.
She got to her doctor's appointment, I guess.
Yeah. Just strapped her ass in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that was Supergirl and seatbelts.
Yeah. Are we done with that?
I don't know. Are we done? Is there anything else to say?
I know. I couldn't figure out seatbelts for the longest time, but then it just clicked.
Oh, God.